Okay. So, hello everyone. Please let us know if you can hear and see us.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. We're just waiting for the technology to get up. I think we're live and are streaming. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like we're on.
Yeah.
We are on.
We're getting some comments there. So.
Great, great. So, hello everyone. Today we have a pleasure to host Ivar and Tanja, and they will talk about Jakarta EE. But before we start, I would like to invite you to a great conference, SecForUn conference. It will take place in May. The streaming is possible thanks to them, so just check out their website. Besides that, I would like to encourage you to send your talks proposals. We are constantly looking for new speakers. So to do it, just please go to silesia.jag.pl and click the zgłoś prezentację button. So thank you. And Tanja, Ivar, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. If you can show my slides, then there you go. Yeah, Tanja, this is kind of exciting because we've done this talk a couple of times now, and last year, and to be honest, I just took the slides, updated some of them, removed some of them, but I haven't actually seen what I've done. So it's the first time I'm seeing these slides.
And you don't have to share everything, Ivar.
No, I know, and also I did prepare a demo. It's a slightly more advanced than I used to do last year, but and I've tried it. It's running, so let's hope that works as well.
But there is one difference for this talk, Ivar, I would say. Previously, we didn't have Jakarta EE9 available. So this is our first talk where we actually have everything available, like a full release. We had bits and pieces, but not a formal release. So this is the first talk with the official Jakarta EE9 release.
Exactly, and I've actually downloaded the final release of Glassfish 6 as well, so everything is as it should be.
Okay, great. So let's get going.
Yeah. So my name is Ivar Grimstad. I'm the Jakarta EE developer advocate at Eclipse Foundation.
And I am Tanja Obradović, and I am Jakarta EE program manager at Eclipse Foundation.
Yes, and today we will talk a little bit about the background, why we are at the Eclipse Foundation, what Jakarta EE is. We'll talk about Jakarta EE9 and what's coming after Jakarta EE9. So Jakarta EE, you're probably familiar with our sailing ship, the logo, and but where did it come from? So we know about the Java EE that was governed by the Java Community Process, or the JCP, by Oracle. And back in 2016, 17, around there, Oracle decided that they wanted to move all this technology over to an open source foundation. And Eclipse Foundation was selected. The EE4J top level projects was created. And from these projects, we create the technologies that form the basis for Jakarta EE. So that's kind of the full gist of everything there. And the name Jakarta, yeah, that's a pretty cool story as well. I like to talk about this one. And that's you probably remember the Apache Jakarta project, which was the old all the Java technologies at Apache Software Foundation. And that project has been parked for a couple of years. And when we were trying to figure out which name we were going to use for these new technologies, the Java EE technologies, when they moved to Eclipse Foundation, we landed on the name Jakarta. And the Apache Foundation was kind enough to give us the name. So we extracted the Jakarta out of it, created Jakarta EE, and that's where we are. And the webpage,
even the name is you know, kind of open source. It was contributed by the community, and it lives in the community, right?
Exactly.
So it's cool.
So it has some kind of history around it as well, and you can all see the kind of similarity with Jakarta being a city of Java and all this kind of stuff. It's not a geographic thing. That's important. It's software. But anyway. So Jakarta.ee is a super simple webpage to remember. That's all you need to know. That's where you start to find out everything about the technologies. And what's Jakarta EE all about then, Tanja?
So Jakarta EE is actually all about specifications. And what exactly does that mean? So specifications in this case is a collection of 3 major artifacts. Actually, before we go there, these specifications, it's as I said, collection of the various specifications, and 2 major ones that we have. 2 major groupings that we have are Jakarta EE platform and Jakarta EE web profile. And Ivar actually kind of showed this on the slide already with these dotted lines. But I was going to ask you, Ivar, why did you put some of these specifications there in gray versus blue?
Yeah, so the gray specifications are the ones that they are stable. They're going to be around there. We're not going to remove SOAP, but there are no plans of developing it further because SOAP is pretty stable as it is. So these are the specifications that we are keeping as is. We're not moving them forward.
So, and I hope everyone is familiar with the web profile and the platform specifications. And it was quite popular with Java EE developers. We have quite a few known products supporting those. So we will see how that if it changed with the move to Jakarta EE.
Yeah, and in Jakarta EE, we are talking about open specifications. It's not that they've been closed before, but we feel that they are even more open than before.
And we're super happy that we're getting feedback from the community that they feel the same way. So what exactly does that mean that there are now open specifications? So at the Eclipse Foundation, we're trying to make a different approach with the developing specifications. So we will be insisting on making sure that we first do a code. And by coding first, we prove that something is worthy of the specification. And based on that, we create the specification document. We also want to make sure it's a true collaborative process in the open source way, which does not mean that it wasn't collaborative before. But what is the difference? We don't have the expert or specification lead. We have a team gathered around the specification with equal responsibilities. So there is no special roles. We do have a notion of the project lead for specification, but it's mainly a person that is point of contact for the team with no other privileges. We also are making sure that all the specification documents and test compatibility kits are open source and available to everyone. That was not the case before. And most of our developers are particularly excited about that one. This time around, you can go and see exactly what is written in the documents. You can go and see the code of the tests, and you can influence and provide input on those tests as well. Also, one of the difference is that we're now insisting to have one or more compatible implementations. Previously, we had the reference implementations, one and only, and we're trying to move away from that concept. So anyone who is interested to have their product as compatible implementation, while that can be used as to verify that the code is actually certifiable, right, and run the TC case. We can use that as the compatible implementations. The requirement is to have at least one. And then finally, we changed the certification process, which is drastically different as well. The certification is now self-certification. It is actually you are providing us, whoever is wanting to certify their product, they're providing us with their own results. Once that is available to everyone and verified by the specification committee, the product can be called a certified product. Now, the whole process is completely free of charge. In the case you want to highlight your product in the compatible product pages, there is a process that needs to be followed, and there are requirements around that. But the certification itself is completely free. Now, there is also the process that we're following while creating a specification, and that is what is shown on this slide. And it's called Jakarta EE certification. Oh, sorry, Jakarta EE specification development process. It is a process that is developed based on the Eclipse Foundation specification development process. And if you're familiar with any of the development of some other projects at the Eclipse Foundation, it is heavily relying on the well-known and established Eclipse development process. So if you see, if you notice on this slide, we have this boxes in purple that are reviews, moments for where reviews are happening. So let's just look at this process without these review boxes. So if you're really looking into the white boxes only, the process is not any different from any other development, process. So you have a proposal, you enter a development phase, you reach certain milestones. You're providing then a certain specification version, and finally you have your end product or final version. We call it here a ratified final specification. And once that is done, you want to develop a new version. You start from the plan, development, and so on. So what are those reviews? The reviews are actually there for particularly a specification team and specification committee to ensure that we're following the process. That we have a creation review. We take a breather and make sure that the progress review is happening to our desire. We have the release reviews where we're ensuring that standard of the specification is to satisfaction, and we're not missing any of the steps. If anyone has been involved in any of the specification development, I'm sure you can appreciate that it could be quite challenging. And with this many specifications as Jakarta EE has it, we need to ensure that all of the specifications are being developed in a uniform and standard manner, and that the development of the specifications is followed by this process. So specification committee, one of the committees that is heavily involved in specification development, is plugged into all of these reviews and making sure we're following the process. Yeah, we can move to the next. And what exactly is the specification? I almost kind of took away a little bit earlier, revealing what the specification is. So we have 3 artifacts, and they are specification document, they are the interfaces or APIs, and the test compatibility kits that are used to ensure that APIs are truly complying to the specification document, and we're running it against the compatible implementation. So if you can show that. Ivar, do you want to add something to this?
No, I think you covered it nice. So just to super one-sentence recap, a specification is a couple of artifacts, and there is a test suite, and some implementation implements this specification document or what's stated there, tested by the suite, and that's what is a final specification.
Yep. And I think so compatible implementations, we mentioned already, are extremely important and part of the process in releasing of the any specification. But what we're thrilled about, I have to say, is that for Jakarta EE8, and I think you can move on the next slide, the amount of compatible implementations and compatible products we already have for Jakarta EE. So this is like a clear sign that you know, this technology is very, very interesting. It's still alive. So people were thinking that maybe you know, this is the technology that is not as dominant on the market as it used to be, but we're over and over again being you know, reminded that there are many products out there looking forward to whatever is coming next with Jakarta EE.
Yeah,
so,
so one thing interesting with this picture also is that I mean, you see the usual ones here, like WebSphere and WebLogic and the big ones, but you also see these other names that I hadn't heard of before, like Tunisoft and Primeton and Apusik. They're new names for me. So that's pretty cool that it's newer, smaller players around there as well.
And just to reveal, but not too much, there is another one coming up. So I am totally thrilled and continuously being surprised to see how many people are using this technology out there. And that's just the implementers of the technology, not the users of those implementations. So really thrilled about that.
Yeah, and that was all Jakarta EE8, all these implementations. So
Yes.
we just before Christmas, or in November actually, we released Jakarta EE9, and we're expecting to get some certifications in for that now. It's available out there. It's been available for a couple of months, and you can find all the downloader products on our download page. And currently it's only Glassfish that is there, but I know the others are working to get there. So I think we can expect some more, a slide looking like the previous one pretty soon.
Yeah.
So Jakarta EE9, this is all it was about. It was lower entry barriers, platform for innovation, and easy migration. And do you want to explain what we mean by that?
Sure. So just in a short sentence, I just want to make sure that people are aware, in the case someone isn't, that Jakarta EE8 actually was exactly the equivalent, I would say, version of what was Java EE8. And that was very deliberate as well, to make sure that we ease people into the transition. So similarly, with Jakarta EE9, what we were doing, having that in mind, that we want to make sure that people are actually transitioning into Jakarta EE world with a little bit of ease. We wanted to make sure that this release will lower the entry barriers. So that means we're opening up and making sure that other implementations will come, are being welcomed to implement the specifications. And actually, we're not introducing drastic changes in this version, except a big one, of course, which is the new namespace. So we had the restrictions with the use of the javax namespace, and we needed to introduce the new Jakarta namespace. So we are with this whole version is dedicated to this this change. So
we also removed things, right?
We did remove some of the things that
we removed some legacy technologies, and that is to lower the entry barrier, so the new players out there don't have to implement this old stuff.
Those exactly that are not of use. We're also with this approach, we are establishing this new version as the platform for innovation. So with this new base layer, with the removal of the old unused technologies, and with the new namespace, we're truly expecting people to use this platform as platform for innovation. Moving on, as I mentioned, the easy migration is only one big change, and that's what the release is all about. Also, I think it is very important to stress out that considering that we were working through the newly established specification development process, it was a very good practice to go through the process again and tweak whatever needed the tweaking. So yeah, that is what the Jakarta is all about. So why don't you, Ivar, talk about a little bit more about the namespace change? I mentioned it a little bit, but maybe you can.
Yeah, let's talk namespaces and see what we can figure out there. So the big thing is that the javax stuff is now called Jakarta something, and this applies to code and properties and files and everything. So I think rather than talking about this, I think a demo is good here. And let's do a demo where we take an old application that is running on Glassfish 5, and I'll take this application and convert it to a Java EE, Jakarta EE 9 application running on Glassfish 6. So, and I'll be touching all of the different aspects of the namespace here. So let's open the IDE and have a look at the application here. So first of all, let's just verify that I'm on the correct version. So you can see I'm using here the Jakarta EE 8 APIs, and my application here is it is super simple. It only says hello world. I'll run it in a minute. I'll just walk you through the code first. But it has some small things that it's good to know when you're doing this namespace migration. The actual resource it's a REST resource. The only thing it does is to say hello, to write out a hello world message, more or less. But to make it a little bit more interesting, is using an EJB to figure out what this greeting is. And this EJB is then again using a CDI bean here, which is a repository that it does a lookup in a database. So it just looks up everything here, finds the first greeting. If there are no greetings, it prints hi and undefined. And the Dux repository is using a JPA. So I'm doing a criteria here where I'm saying get all the greetings from the Duke greeting, which is an entity bean, and or a JPA entity. And you can see I'm using not caching here because I want to be able to do database changes and have them reflected right away. And this class is super simple. It is a database table called greeting, and it has a message and an email, and that's all it is. To make it a little bit more interesting, you maybe notice that I have created an annotation here called @Dukes, and this one just says hi there, and this is just to use some stuff that will show you that you need to think a little bit more than just changing the import statements when you do the changes. So I have this Dukes annotation created, and I've created a CDI extension here. And this CDI extension is basically just checking that if any class with this Dukes annotation comes around, when the annotations are processed at application startup, it will print, hey, I found a Duke annotated class, and print the message in the server log. So it doesn't do anything other than just log it to the server log. And my configurations for this is that I have a Jakarta REST or JAX REST application here, and I have my persistence XML, which has the database properties. I'm just using a default database data source here. And also the CDI extension is defined in the marker file for CDI extensions. So you see, it's more advanced than it needs to be. It's using databases and everything, but that was just to show that to get all the different things you need to change. So let's run this one. I'll just rerun it here and have a look at the log. So when it starts up now, we should be able to see in the Glassfish log that it's logging the CDI extension things. It's just building now, so it will be there in a minute or so. And there we go. Let's look at the log and see that we can see this log statement that the Dukes annotation has been discovered. Okay, I need to redeploy my application. Let's go. Oh, it's working. For some reason, yeah, there it goes. So let's see what's happening here. You can see it's Glassfish 5 are running. 5.1 actually.
5.1, yep.
And that's the one that we're for Jakarta EE8. So should be up and running. I don't know why I restarted the server, but here you can see it writes Duke message, hi there, and it found a Duke annotation. So this is coming from the CDI extension. So let's also go to the browser and have a look at this application. So it's oh, my keyboard has stopped working here. It's on 8082. Let's see here. There you go. So it's Glassfish 5. It's called Complete Duke and hello. And as you can see, it says how did Jakarta EE8? And let's also just for to be sure here to look at the database and see here. Oh, sorry. Oh, greeting. So you can see the message is coming from the database. So let's convert this one to Jakarta EE9. The first thing I'll do then is to update the POM. And for this, the only thing I need to do is update the version number. So I'll update it to version 9.0.0. You can see there are some release candidates out there, so just make sure you pick the right one. And then I'll update my project. I'll get rid of the database. There you go. So let's also make it a little bigger. And what you should see now is that the classes are, the compilation errors are coming. And that's because the javax namespace isn't there anymore. So what I'll do now is just do it manually. I mean, you could rely on the tool entirely, but there are some cases you need to just be careful that you pick the right class. So I'll just go through all of my classes here, and you can see the javax. All these have to be fixed. Extension has more of them. So this is kind of a tedious work, but you want to have this right. So just take a little care while you're doing this. So it managed to take all of them. Do some process story. There you go. All of them. So it's a manual, kind of boring thing, but it just has to be done. But it's not very demanding, so a couple of developers can do this. You can convert your entire application in a day or so. It just has to be done, and just make sure you pick the correct one.
And it's only to be done once.
Yeah. So there you go. And so now I've converted all of my code, and it's been these import statements that has been talked about all the time, and you should think maybe I'm done now, or is there anything else? Well, there is actually something more, and let's take them one at a time. First, let's go to our persistence XML file, and here you can notice that I'll just get rid of this here, so you can see we have this version 2.1 of the schemas, and they're pointing to the JCP org schemas. So for us, we've changed the namespace also for the XML files, and this is something. Not all servers are very stringent on this, but some of them are, and if they are, you want to make this sure. Make sure you do this right, and you can also see the schema location. So it's not only we're following this standard that the schema name follows the location. So there are actually 3 places we need to change it there. Let me see here. So, but you see, it's more or less search and replace, and it's the Jakarta EE webpage, and also remember the versions. So JPA has moved to 3.0, and over here, no, actually IntelliJ discovers this and tells me I have a wrong here. So put the version right, and then it should validate correctly. So now the schemas, and this applies to all XML files you have in your application. But there are actually more. If you look closely to this file, you can see I have some properties there. And these are the standard properties for JPA. And these also are affected by the namespace. And this will actually fail if you don't fix it. The schema you can get away with, sort of. It's not a good idea to do it, but you can. But this one will actually not work. So I have to fix these. So you see, until now, I've changed the code. Then I changed the XML schemas. And now I changed some property names. And is there anything else? Let me see. Yeah, the marker file for the extension is called javax enterprise inject. So this one has to be renamed as well. So this is actually a file rename. So it's not a property. It's not code, but it's a file name, and it has to be renamed there. So I think I've covered most of it now. Shall we try it and see if it runs?
Well, let's try if it runs.
Yeah, let's do so. It's only one way to find out, right?
Yeah.
So let's see if I can find the servers here again. There we go. Oh, come on. There you go. So here I have GlassFish 6, and let's I have the complete Duke here, and let's just do a deployment here and see if it works. And now we should be able to see in the log that this one is logging the Hajduk from the CDI extension. And here you can see it says hi there. So that works. So let's see if the application does what we're expecting it to do. I'll open a new tab here. I go to localhost. This one is on 8080. Complete Duke, hello. And it says, oh, but it says 8. That's not right. We want it to be 9. So that's the 5th, or was it 6th? I can't remember, place where you have to remember to change things. And that is, you may have stuff in the database that has some namespaces in it. So if you have some class names in your database that is dynamically looked up, then you need to change that, or property names, or something like that. So let's fix it. In my case, it's just a oh, what's it all right? Oh, maybe a from is a good thing. There you go. Oh, come on. So you may have stuff in your database that you need to change in order to, in this case, it's just a text, but it could have been a class name or a property. So when I run it now, it should say, give me the correct message. So how much time did it go? 5 or 6 minutes. That's what it takes to convert an entire Jakarta EE application. And this one actually has pretty much stuff in it, even though it's just saying hello world. So that was the demo.
Yeah.
It worked. Good.
And it worked.
Yeah. Not bad. And let's look a little bit ahead, and we have a Jakarta EE 9.1 coming up, which will support.
What's the difference? Why do we have it so soon?
Yeah, why do we do that? And yeah, we wanted to support Java SE 11 in Jakarta EE 9, but it turned out to be a little bit hard to get all the tests to work, and that is the test suite that is the problem here. So what we're going to do is to launch a Jakarta EE 9.1 that will have the same APIs. It will be compiled to Java SE 8 as Jakarta EE 9 is, but we will change the test suite so it's possible to certify on 11 and make that a requirement for 9.1. And the time plan for this is that if there are any specifications of these individuals, like Servlet or Jakarta REST or EJB or any of the specifications wants to do any changes, they have to tell us by January 31st. That's 2 weeks from now. Then we can create the final plan for the platform. And then we start just doing development here. And that development is actually mostly, it's some work with the Glassfish, not that much. I think they're more or less done, but the test suite, the TCK, has to be updated. So there are some works to be done, and we haven't set a final date, but we're aiming for during Q1, probably late March, maybe April. I don't want to say a date. That's why it says T there. So 14 days before that release date, at the latest, we need to have a release review of the platform. So that's more or less the plan we have right now, and it's being discussed every week in the platform project. And we've also been looking a little bit ahead after EE9. And one thing that is moving pretty good right now is CDI Lite. And the CDI team is creating a specification that is a subset of CDI. That is one decision they made. It's going to be a subset so that the regular CDI version will build on CDI Lite. And CDI Lite will be developed in a way that makes ahead of time compilation possible or easier. So to support runtimes like Quarkus and Helidon that are running on GraalVM. So that is the purpose of the CDI Lite specification. And they are working on it. I think they have weekly meetings going on and discussing and all the different implementations and vendors are present there. So it's good progress. We want to have some sort of release cadence established. We're not defining any release cadence yet. What we want to do is get 9.1 out as soon as possible, probably Q1, and then see if we can get another release out this year. And then maybe that shows us that we have some sort of release cadence, whether that is 1 or 2 releases a year or something around there. We don't know yet, but we'll see. In order to be able to release often and smaller releases, we need to detangle some of the specifications. There are a little bit too many dependencies around there, so that when we do a change in one specification, it kind of ripples through all of them. And that is a problem if we want to just release parts of it. And that's mostly on the testing side. So we need to kind of rip apart the big test suite and have more granular test suites for the different specifications. We want to have some sort of predictability when it comes to Java SE versions, because we don't want to come into that situation we are at today, that we say we want to support 11, but end on supporting 8 and have to do a minor release afterwards in order to support 11. So have some sort of predictability, whether we target the long-term support releases from OpenJDK or how we do it. that is up for discussion. But to have some sort of, okay, when you get a version of Jakarta EE out, you can kind of anticipate which Java SE version it will support. We're looking at some new APIs to add to the platform. Jakarta NoSQL are doing some great work. They are definitely a candidate for adding to the platform. Jakarta MVC has released a version 2.0, which is on the Jakarta namespace. It's definitely a candidate for web profile. We want to have some sort of a configuration mechanism, and we're looking at how we can leverage the work they've done in microprofile in order to not invent a new sort of configuration ourselves. So it would be some sort of maybe referencing the microprofile config or something like that to have a platform-wide standard way of configuration application configure your applications. There are possible updates that has been put forward by the Jakarta ambassadors, and that is for security, to support JSON Web Tokens, OAuth, OpenID Connect, and that kind of things. It kind of also comes hand in hand with the microprofile JSON Web Token propagation that is kind of hooking into this. So it should be a fairly easy way of supporting this. Some new annotations may come around. Concurrency, to do it a little bit easier to get hold of the managed execution service. You've probably done it, and it's kind of a hassle sometimes. So maybe have just an annotation so you can inject it and get it from the runtime. Would be nice. More CDI alignment. Messaging, new protocols to support maybe Kafka or MQP, MQTT, and that kind of stuff. And also continue the work that was started for EE8 with the CDI alignment to make it more, CDI beans. So maybe the message-driven beans aren't EJBs anymore, but could be a CDI bean. Jakarta persistence, make it simpler. Look at some standard caching mechanism. Maybe just JCache is an option. It's not at the Eclipse Foundation, so that is a JCP specification. So we need to figure out how to do that, and maybe do some query language updates. For Jakarta REST, it's to finish off the CDI alignment that they've started with, look at the Java SE version of it, and maybe support multi-part form data. And to the other specifications, there are minor or major updates to them. I know they want to do stuff in Jakarta Faces. And in these days, when it looks like server-side rendering is kind of coming back, Jakarta Faces and also Jakarta MVC is technologies that are likely to be updated in the future. That's it. Do you want to wrap it up, Tanja?
Yeah, sure. So, with all the work that has been done, we're thrilled that Jakarta EE9 is released. Again, with removing some of the old technologies, we're lowering entry barriers for new vendors. This is now truly a platform for innovation. So this is actually invitation for all of you to jump on board and let us know how do you envision enterprise Java going forward. And with only one big change, and you saw how Ivar did it for a pretty involved small application, kind of touching all the aspects of one true enterprise application. You can do easy migration from the javax namespace to Jakarta namespace. We also want to point out that Jakarta.ee is the place to go to find information on what's going on with Jakarta EE. Here is the link for all the sources. You can check the Jakarta blogs and popular hashtag by Ivar. I'm sure if you follow us on Twitter, Jakarta EE, or one of us, you are aware of the monthly blog updates that I put together. And there on Jakarta.ee, there is a connect page where you can find all sorts of different ways to get in touch with us. And also, join us on different events that we're organizing. For example, next week we have a big Jakarta EE update call. It is on Thursday, January 21st. If you want to find out what's going on in what we plan to do for Jakarta EE in 2021, and exactly how are we doing and what are we doing with regards to release of 9.1. Please join the call and get involved.
Yeah. And you can also, if you're writing a blog today and writing something about Jakarta EE, you can get listed on Jakarta blogs.
Absolutely.
So it's a straightforward process. You just give them it's described there. You just give it the RSS feed, and your blog post gets distributed.
And that's everything we had. So I would love to hear if there are any questions, comments, and just invite you to be involved. Get in touch. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and if you come up with some questions later, it's just to contact us on Twitter or the connect page on Jakarta EE, and we'll get back to you.
We'll be happy to get back to you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's everything we have.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you guys for joining us, for giving the talk. It was really interesting. And yeah, thank you everyone for listening. See you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.